Joining me now is my buddy Kurt Warner from the NFL Network, Westwood One, and so much more. Pro Football Hall of Famer on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line. How you doing, Kurt?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Fresh back from New England, you are. What did you make of that one? Was that the wildest Belichick coached game you've ever seen, and you've been in Super Bowls against him? What was that, do you think?
It was crazy. But you got the feel when you were in the stadium, and again, not following it all week long, you got the feel that that was what everybody was talking about all week long, was should we go back to Mac? Bailey's been playing really, really well. And I think most of the fans there seem to be leaning towards let's stay with Bailey. Things are going well, and then obviously Matt comes in after his time off, and it wasn't stellar. But it was interesting because it wasn't stellar. Obviously Bailey comes in and does what he does in those two drives, and then it wasn't stellar after that. Not a whole lot was happening after that. It got a couple big plays on those two drives that led to touchdowns, but it didn't look very impressive offensively after that either. And so, you and I both know that sometimes the backup quarterback can be the most popular person in town. And it sure seemed that way. And not that Bailey hadn't been playing well, but it sure seemed that way when Mac went back in there, that they were just kind of waiting for a mistake more than they believed he was the right guy for the job. So I'm interested to see, how the rest of that game dictates what they decide to do moving forward. Mac made a bad decision, without a doubt, and a bad interception. But, stuff happens. And I still think he's probably the best guy for the job at this point in time.
Interesting enough, the Twitterverse trying to sleuth, thinking that interception, I don't know if you saw that this morning, Kurt, if you have been on your phone, that it hit the wire of the camera that hovers over the field, like that. That would be unfortunate for him. But what do you think New England should do moving forward on that front? What do you think?
I mean, again, I'm a big Mac Jones fan, and I liked what he did last year. And I thought, he grew and got better and got him to the playoffs. And I want to see what he can be. You drafted him, and I thought he did really, really well as a rookie, and by a lot of standards, maybe the best rookie quarterback a year ago. So I want to see him grow. And, we can look at the first few games of the year and say, well, we didn't see that growth. Well, I think there was a lot of stuff happening, and is a lot of stuff happening in New England with what they're doing offensively and the moves that they made with Matt Patricia and, taking over, and a defensive guy. And I think they're still working through things. I mean, their offense to me is very simplistic. Which at times can be good and at times can be tough, and especially for, young, talented quarterbacks, and a quarterback like Mac that plays more with his mind than he's going to, with his arm. He's not going to beat you over and over again by making these unbelievable throws. So you need to give him more opportunities to make plays by deciphering what's going on. And so I think there's still some issues going on offensively here, and I want to see what Mac Jones can be before I'm going to jump to Bailey Zappe, even though we've seen a lot of really good things from Bailey.
Kurt Warner, Pro Football Hall of Famer, here on the Rich Eisen Show. And so next up for the Patriots, Mac Jones or Bailey Zappe, are the Jets, who have won 4 in a row. And their last 3, they've won without Zach Wilson throwing a single touchdown pass. And Daniel Jones in New York for the 6-1 Giants, taking on the NFC West leading Seahawks in week number 8. He's the reigning offensive player of the week in the NFC. So let's take it one by one here. And what you're seeing out of Daniel Jones for the starters here, and the emergence, one would say. Or is this a smoke and mirrors situation? What do you got from me, Kurt Warner, what you're seeing here? What do you think?
Well, I think both of these teams are playing very similar type football. They're winning the same way. They're winning with defense. They're winning with run game. And then, getting enough from their quarterback. Now, of course, the Giants situation, they're getting a lot more from their quarterback than the Jets are. And I love what Brian Daboll's done to utilize the skill set of Daniel Jones. But he finally looks comfortable playing the game. And it's not necessarily conventional. He's not dropping back into the middle of the pocket and having to make 30 throws from in there. No, they're moving him around. They're running some pure progression stuff to kind of get his eyes in the right spot. They're running a lot of play action and opportunities to get him out in space. So Ryan Daboll's playing, scheming up some really, really good things for their quarterback, and they're getting a lot of really good play from their quarterback, and it's timely play. And I think that's the bottom line is I don't know if Daniel Jones can be that guy that you can ask to throw it for you and win games consistently. But he's shown that he can be that guy that in timely moments, if you don't ask him to do too much, that he can make plays for you. And he's been doing that for this football team, that haven't thrown the ball a lot in fourth quarter. And so a lot of this is about fourth quarter comebacks, but they're not turning the ball over in the fourth quarter. And their defense is opportunistic in making plays and setting up their offense. And then they're running the football, and they're running it with Daniel Jones, which has been a big part of their success. So I like what the Giants are doing. I think like most teams, if it comes down to a game where, okay, your quarterback has to sit back there and win the game for you throwing the football, I'm not sure that's where Daniel Jones is in his career. I'm not sure he's ever going to be that guy. But the way they're asking him to play, he's playing some really solid football.
What do you think of Zach Wilson? Because I had Robert Saleh on last Friday, and he was talking about we're not nearly anywhere near the type of football that we can play. And I asked him if the passing game, you could throw that into that bucket. And he said that he actually sees some good things out of it. And I don't know if that was being Pollyanna or not, but it's been it does appear to be a struggle on that front. What are you seeing out of Zach Wilson, Kurt?
Yeah, it seems to be a big-time struggle. You still see moments of Zach being special and making special throws here and there, but there's no consistency. I struggle sometimes with their concepts and what they're asking him to do. But I don't think Zach Wilson is seeing the field yet. I don't think he's getting through his progressions. I think it comes down more to I'm going to drop back and I'm going to find the guy that I want to throw it to, and if he's not there, then we're just going to kind of make it up from there. And and so again, they're winning in other ways, getting just enough from their quarterback, but a long way to go in that regard in developing their pass offense, and then really in Zach Wilson taking that next step to be able to work through some things and not just be an ultra-talented quarterback back there in the pocket.
What do you mean asking him to do? Don't get the concepts of what they're asking him to do. What do you mean by that, Kurt? What are you talking about?
Well, I simply mean, that as a quarterback, you always want to have an idea of, okay, I know who my primary guy is, but then I know based on what the defense does where I'm working through that. Or, as I mentioned with Daniel Jones, they're doing a lot of what we call pure progression type offense stuff. So it's not about Daniel Jones necessarily seeing the coverage and knowing who he needs to read. It's about, hey, every time we call this play, this receiver is going to be number one, and then this receiver is going to be number two, and this receiver is going to be number three. So all you have to do is work through your progression because it never changes regardless of, the coverage that you see. And so that's what I want to see. I want to see Zach having some comfort with either A, what he's seeing to be able to kind of change his reads or get to the right guy, or B, if they're going to run more of this pure progression, get through his progressions and work from number one on to 2 and 3 on a consistent basis and be able to get the ball and move through that progression part of things from inside the pocket in a timely fashion. And right now I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing more. I'm looking at my first guy. If that guy's open, he can make plays, and we've seen that in a number of games. But when that guy's not open, there's a lot more hesitation in the pocket, and it looks like he's unsure of himself once he gets to that point.
Kurt Warner here on the Rich Eisen Show. I got 3 more quarterbacks to hit you on before I let you go on your Wednesday. Matt Ryan, what do you think he's thinking about right now? What do you think?
I think he's overly, disappointed. And I'm sure it's probably twofold. I think there's probably times that Matt looks back at the film and goes, I wish I would have played better. But I think the biggest thing, and I've been here in my career, that, Rich, numerous times, is that, sometimes you get benched because you're not playing well, and they need better at that position because everybody else is playing at a winning standard. And then there's other times where nobody's playing very well, and the first person that they point at is the quarterback position, and that kind of becomes the first move that is made. And I think that was more of the situation that we've got right here is, Matt wasn't necessarily playing great football. But when you looked at what he thought he was getting when he signed up for this, is that, to me, Matt Ryan's never been a guy that throw the ball 40 times, carry a team with your right arm. That's not who Matt Ryan is. And so going to Indy, I thought it was a perfect fit. Run the football, good offensive line, be a complementary piece off of play action. I thought he was going to be an upgrade from what they've had over the last few years. And then you get there, and the run game's struggling. The offensive line has been awful. And, he's a sitting duck back there, and they don't have necessarily the speed to get down the field, which allows defenses, like we talked on our show last week, about being able to play downhill, attacking the line of scrimmage and shrinking the windows that you have. And so put all that together, and it's a recipe for what we've seen, from this offense and frankly from Matt Ryan. And even though he's done some good things, it's hard football to play with a guy like Matt Ryan when you look at his skill set. So I unfortunately think it's unfair, and life is often unfair in this business. But I think it's unfair to Matt because, A, I don't think he was playing so bad that it was benchable, and B, he signed up to be a part of something, and I know it doesn't always work out like that, but the Colts haven't lived up to their part of the bargain in what he was signing up for as well. So a lot of issues there. I feel for Matt because I don't know if this is simply just, plug in a new guy and he's going to make this situation better. Athletic quarterback, can they hide some things for the short term? Yes, they could possibly hide some things. But the issues here start up front, and that's where, that's what's happened here is Matt Ryan's got beat up and been forced to have to rush a lot of things. And when you rush things as a quarterback, it doesn't look nearly as good. So I think it's an unfortunate situation. And I think everybody would tell you that, is that, the Colts would probably tell you we didn't live up to our part of the bargain. But, we also, needed to do that for Matt to be the guy that we think he can be. And now we've got to make a move because we have to play a little bit differently than we did before.
Well, I just asked you what Matt Ryan is thinking, and wondering about that. We don't have to wonder that about Aaron Rodgers, Kurt Warner, because he's telling Pat McAfee exactly what's on his mind. And he said that 20% of the snaps, there's a mistake being made on the field that they can't overcome. That's 1 out of every 5 snaps. What are you seeing out of the Packers offense?
Well, so I'm actually going to be doing a little piece on NFL Plus, the QB Insider that I do. So if anybody's subscribed, go check that out on Thursday. On Aaron Rodgers. And, I think there's a variety of issues there. And, the hardest thing when you watch film is you're not sure exactly how things play out. But you definitely see Aaron Rodgers hesitating or Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball a certain place and the receiver's not, going the same place that the ball's going. One example, they ran, a slant route, and it was Allen Lazard. So it was his guy running a slant route. And as he goes to run the slant route, Allen Lazard slows down a little bit in the window between 2 defenders, and Aaron throws it out in front of him. And it turns into a, dive forward and an incompletion. There's another one where Robert Tonyan, the guy that he's played with, obviously, and they've had success, is running an out route. And Aaron sees that there's a defender sitting outside of him, and Tonyan comes out of it, and he's running the out route, and Aaron's trying to put it on his back shoulder, and Tonyan comes out, and he's coming out a little too fast, and it's an incompletion when Aaron's trying to protect him from that throw, but the receiver didn't see what he's seeing. So when we talk about, the details, and you talk about how we're a little bit off on every play, you see a lot of those things. Aaron seeing one thing, and the receivers doing something else. Now, there have been plenty of times in my career where we've never talked about a receiver slowing down, or we've never talked about a receiver adjusting a certain way. And there'll be times in games where I'll throw it to the adjustment, kind of like, man, I hope he sees what I see because I'm going to throw it here because I know this is where the hole's at. And then I throw it, and he doesn't go there, and I can't be mad at him because I know he's doing exactly what we told him to do. I was just hoping that he saw the game like I saw the game, or he saw the opening like I saw the opening, and that can be a frustrating thing when you're a quarterback and you can see it and other guys don't see it. But at the end of the day, you always have to come back to, well, okay, let's draw it up on paper and let's tell these guys what to do. And then everything else needs to fall on me to read the defense and get the ball where it needs to be. Although it does lead to frustration because, not every play is perfect. And some plays you have to hit tight windows and you have to put it on the back shoulder. And you just want those guys to be able to do that, to the level that Aaron can do that. And right now they're not, that they're young and they're not seeing it the same way, and it's causing a lot of problems. And I think it's leading to hesitation for Aaron Rodgers, and he's not playing his best football. So a lot of issues to go around. But again, in that NFL Plus piece, you'll get a chance to kind of see what I'm talking about, and how it's very noticeable when you watch them play.
I look forward to seeing that. And then the last one for you, Thursday night, Week 8 kickoff. Brady's not been 3-4 to start a Week 8 since 2002. That's how long it's been. Here comes Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I can't believe, Kurt, that Brady lost to a team with an interim head coach that just traded away their best player and is starting P.J. Walker against him, but he did by 18, I might add. What are you seeing from that offense before I let you go, sir?
Man, did you get this plug from NFL Plus? Because I'm doing something on Brady.
There you go. Well, I mean,
both the coach.
Yeah, why not? Good.
You were
Great.
You're just locked in and tied in. But I tell you what I'm seeing is that, and I think we've all talked about everything that seems to be going on with Brady off the field. That he's not himself, and he just isn't acting himself. And there's a lot of issues going on. He's an old guy and got a lot of stuff going on, right, Rich?
Yes.
And so what you're seeing on the field is that it is so un-Brady-like. The piece that I'm looking at, in NFL Plus is really focusing on things that Brady's not seeing that he's always seen. There's a safety sitting in the middle of the field from the snap, from the go, and he drops back and he tries to throw something right down the middle of the field, and he hits the safety in the hands, and you're just going, I don't understand it. I can't make sense of it because, players don't just forget how to play. But it really seems like, his ability to focus and do the things that really have separated Tom Brady over the years are getting clouded. And he's not seeing, or, he's making mistakes that you scratch your head and go, I just don't know how he didn't see that. I just don't know how he missed the guy that he almost hit in between the numbers that was standing in the same place from the time the ball was snapped till the time he hit him in the numbers. Like, it's just it's uncharacteristic of Tom Brady. And the only thing that I can make sense of is that for the first time, he hasn't been able to compartmentalize football. And he hasn't been able to separate all the other stuff going on from him being able to show up for 3 hours on Sunday and play his game. And that's what he's always been great at, is being able to push out all the noise and just focus on playing the game. And right now, it just looks like it's a mess and it's clouded and he's not seeing things and he's just trying to drop back and make a throw. But there's a lot of bad decisions and a lot of bad throws that I'm seeing right now.
Wow, Kurt, you gave us a lot of food for thought there. So just to wrap it all up, the Sports Talk Radio question from Mac Jones and Bailey Zappe to the two New York quarterbacks that are one playing well and Daniel Jones and another one who's trying to get on track with Zach Wilson and Matt Ryan and Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Which one do you think is the most fixable, the one most improvable for the next 10 plus weeks in the season? Which one, if you had to choose one of them?
Last week I think I would have said Tom Brady, just because of the pieces. I think I actually did say it on our show. The more I watch them and the more I see the issues he's having, I don't know if it's going to be Tampa. I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers, of those guys that we talked about. I mean, again, Daniel's playing well. So not really counting him, but I just think, when you watch the little things that they're off on, I do believe that that's something that they can work through. And Aaron's smart enough and good enough that I think they can clean up some of those. And I don't think it's going to be great by any means, but I do believe it can get better, just based on, I think at times, how close I think they are. And again, the young guys just have to see some things. Sometimes, we can run a play 50 times in practice and in training camp. And then all of a sudden you run it once in a game and you get a completely different look than you had, at any other time when you've run it. And you've got to go, oh, shoot, we've never seen that before. I think he's going to do this. He does. Okay. But it gives us the ability to go back into that room and go, okay, Robert, here's what I saw here. I need you to see this defender sitting outside. Now, the next time we go and run this, we've got another rep against another look that now we can be more on the same page than we were before. And I think that's what the Packers are going through to some degree right now, is they're seeing things they've never seen before. Aaron's waiting for them to make the adjustments that he wants. And assuming they've got the right guys in the room, I do believe some of those things can be cleaned up and they can get better.
All right, so NFL Plus for your opinions and film breakdown on the 12s, Brady and Rodgers. That is on Thursday. I will see you on Sunday for game day morning, and then Monday you and Kevin Harlan in the booth in Cleveland for Westwood One's coverage of the Week 8 finale between the Browns and our first hour guest Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I look forward to all of that, Kurt. You're the best. Thanks, brother.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Take care. That's Pro Football Hall of Famer and Pro Football Hall of Fame human Kurt Warner right here on The Rich Eisen Show.